So angry.
I've had moments in the past where people have come up to me and said, I didn't like what you said with that. And I always think it's a bit Weasley to go, well, it's just a joke.
Intent is everything. It's absolutely everything. And I'm sure you've had friends who are gay, or you're Jewish, black, whatever separates them from everybody else. And I have friends of all of those types, and I'm merciless with them, and they are with me. But then someone else will step in and say something, and the room will go cold. You go, don't like that. And I don't know, sometimes it's extremely difficult to tell where they differed from what you said. But it's the intent, and it's you have a built-in ear for the ring of truth, and a comedian must have it, or he becomes just another fascist, or just another racist, just another sexist. You have to tread very lightly, Well, I tend to crash through it like a man crashing through the long grass, and because that's where all the fun lies.
And marker.
In our childhood, we have all these dysfunctions, and they meld together and they form a formula, an individual formula that drives us to be whatever it is we're driven to be. For comedians, it's definitely like any kind of humiliation. I know for me, I was raped by a doctor, which is, so bittersweet for a Jewish girl.
I think audiences should be offended or pushed and pulled. I think that's the job of a comic, is to make them rethink things. I mean, if you're not offended by the end of a comedy show, you didn't get your money's worth.
I always think I should get on it if I want to have kids. Once you hit 30, you've got to decide fast, because it can be difficult to conceive, it can be dangerous. I mean, the best time to have a baby is when you're a black teenager. But
there's a lot of racism and sexism and homophobia that's wrapped up in irony. And it's sort of like, but really, if you take the irony away, those jokes could be done by racists, sexists, and homophobes. And the irony is a very thin material. And it rips and tears very easily. So I feel like the comics who are trading in irony have to have responsibility. I think they should have some level of responsibility around the fact that, I don't know that everybody's receiving this ironically.
Are there any black people here tonight? Smile, I can't see you. Anybody? Are there any radical Muslim fundamentalists in tonight? If there are, raise both hooks and then back to your cell. I like them to think that they're not sure what's going to happen next. I never want an audience to be able to predict what they're going to feel when they're watching me. I want them on kind of the edge of their seat, no matter the subject matter. And that way they listen. I'm part Jew, and I love the Jews. I love in this country, you can say Jew. What a relief, right? Nobody minds, right? In America, you say Jew, oh, that's racist, you're gonna burn. You're not gonna burn in hell for saying Jew. You only burn in hell if you are a Jew, right? Read the fucking Quran. Comedy is meant to be confrontational. That's the whole point.
Why do paedophiles always have beards and glasses? What is it about that look that children find so sexy? I like that tour that Prince Charles took Camilla on in India last year. Proper rural India as well. You know that half the people that turned up were going, Diana's really let herself go. Does anyone else think that Camilla is almost exactly what Diana would have looked like if she'd survived the crash?
I can find things very funny and offensive in equal measure. I don't think there's anything wrong with being, don't say that ever again. I feel like as a comic, trading in jokes, there's a lot of times where I find comics who I think their jokes are really well written and crafted, but I don't think I think their jokes are doing bad things or not helping people, But it's not every comic is not in this for the same reason.
See if there's a riot in Delhi, how do you know Millions of people in the street, stuff burning, screaming. Could be a riot, could be a wedding. The result is the same, 800 dead.
I don't think that you realize that the joke you're making, even though it's covered in irony, can be received by people in ways that they don't perceive the irony, they just support the point.
Like, I don't want to be labeled as straight or labeled as gay. You know, I just want people to look at me and see me, you know, as white. And I don't care if you think I'm racist. I just want you to think I'm thin.
American is the mother tongue of stand-up comedy.
When they killed bin Laden, he had 3 wives, 23 children. You know who called the SEALs? He did.
I know comedians, they've got a 13-word joke and they will struggle to cut it down to 8 words.
I'm here. I feel I should go out there and go, there's an Englishman, there's an Irishman, and there was a Scottishman.